earthquake intensity occurring within a radius of astronomical division.
Listen to your radio.
Earthquake intensity occurring within a radius of astronomical division.
Listen to your radio. Listen to your radio. Stay where you are and keep listening to your radio. So take cover at once.
Let me know how that is. I don't know how the mix be. Maybe I'll turn up my mic a bit. It's so hard to audio monitor when you're streaming. Let me get this. Whoop! I got Maya open. We're gonna do some art stuff. Whenever people are ready. Hey. Cool, I'm getting tweeted and stuff. Hot dang, thank you for the bits. Hashtag charity. I don't know how that works. That's a thing, apparently. That's pretty rad. Okay, I'm gonna stop this playlist on Spotify. All right, I guess I'll just get into it on what I'm doing. I have some concept art in PureRef open here by our concept artist to make this room, and we're adapting some old tile sets that basically look like this. This is being kind of texture filtered right now, which it shouldn't be, but that's PureRef. So essentially this room is a bunch of these tiles adapted in a pretty I'm not gonna say rough way, but the actual concept art of like this tile is still left to be interpreted. Let's put it that way. So a little bit of modeling, freestyling to figure that out. Is it the worst texture of the game? I didn't know. I was adapting the worst. Yeah, it's pretty vague on what it is. There's some stuff I wanted to keep in it, in that it's kind of pillowy. Like it looks like it comes up to some sort of peak or plateau, I guess would be more accurate. Because it seems like there's kind of a square shape here. And I like that about it. I don't know how intentional that was when they made it. It's really hard to say with some of these old textures. So that's something I wanted to keep. Obviously, the layout of like, oh, we have 6 smaller ones and maybe 3 big ones would be good to keep. Yeah, it kind of does remind me also of old sound paneling. The idea was Rob was thinking they were kind of like vacuum formed. If you've ever seen vacuum forming, let's load up YouTube. Here, I'm getting a call from my family, but I don't want them to text me right now. Apologies responding to this. But I don't want him to freak out either. Anybody out there have parents? Okay, so what was I gonna look up? Vacuum forming. Oh no, you saw some of my subscriptions. Anyway, basically you heat up a plastic sheet and like pull it over a form, and then it forms around it. You get the idea. So that's kind of how I've been tackling it. And also, when we're like adapting these, you want variation in mind. So that's something I've been really thinking about. Here, I'll read here. A prison cell for psychos. Yeah, a lot of Alien. Actually, that's not a bad thing to look at. Rob was pretty adamant about plastic, which is cool. Yeah, it's probably automated for this, but like just kind of inspired by those big plastic things. Kind of like airplane interior as well. So this is what I've been working on. This is like the original tile sets that I loaded in. We have one with lights and one with this, actually, that I might mess with on stream. Get some of those little LEDs. Right now I kind of have this greebly panel that is just kind of some cool tech greebly. Nostromo, yeah, Nostromo is not a bad, it's not a bad thing to reference. In fact, maybe we'll do that. Nostromo. I'm kind of settled on the look of the main tile, like pieces themselves, but like a little accessories. Interior, maybe? I mean, it's hard not to look at Alien Isolation stuff, because it is so good. Man, I really do love. Some other people have been clearly doing 3D art inspired by this. Wow, these are really good renders. Very cool. The shock stuff, I think, is just going to be a little bit more grimy than this, for sure. Looks good, though. People have been doing good work. Looks nice. But what I have right now is basically, these are the light ones. And it kind of has this Fresnel lens thing going on that I was kind of inspired by, like, the Vive HMD, like, lenses. If you look in there, it has these Fresnel lenses that have this kind of circular pattern on them. Kind of like a ripple. Yeah, Fresnel, you got it. And then we have these kind of ones, which are like these equivalent. I'm not sure how to describe these miniature panels. And then the big ones. So in the concept art, I think I want 3 light variations. One where it's kind of on the left, and then center justified, and like one on the right. I've been kind of mentally dividing this up in Photoshop, just kind of quickly drawing squares. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, plants are something I'll also have to tackle in this area. That will be a separate step. I'm going to do the hard surface stuff first. But you can see how many bespoke elements that I'll really need to make this a thing. There's going to be these benches, which could be cool to make. These kind of angled wall pieces, those. And I'm imagining this right here as a square that just kind of goes out of sight. Maybe I could chop up one that's already a square. Diffraction gratings. Oh, interesting. Oh, hey, Hypo. Hey, oh my God, there's tons of people in chat. Hello. There's a lot of people that I know, which is wild. So I want to do a right justified one that's a little different. So I have this one where it's kind of justified to, if I flip this, imagine it's like, this is top justified. So we'll say bottom. So I'm just going to duplicate this over. And the way I've been making these is somewhat clean. So I can just kind of drag this over and start assembling. Looks like I already had some experiments earlier, but I wanted to show it on stream. Yeah, nice meeting you as well. The honk. Oh my God, why is everyone that I know from TF2 is showing up in chat, which is hilarious. I saw them in Seattle, which was freaking wild. All right, so I've never done an art stream, so if it's weird, let me know. I mean, it's going to be weird. But if you think there's something you want to ask about, really, feel free. So the way I've been doing these panels is like, they are bespoke separate pieces. That way I can kind of quickly reassemble them. And looking at this, I'm going to need to put them on stuff that is non-square. And it's relatively editable to the point where I can just like kind of grab this and vert snap to that for my movement widget and just kind of rescale them. That was something I wasn't super used to doing, like totally modular sets. I was doing a lot of props and stuff. I wasn't used to making stuff with modularity in mind, which obviously is like super important, but it's easy when you're working on a prop to just kind of make it naturally be its own thing, its own texture set. Or I'm going to be sharing as many UV islands as possible and stuff, so it's efficient. Lots to think about. Seattle was beautiful. I loved it there. I mean, Valve's there. That's what we were there for. So tons of other places, game dev places, Sucker Punch, etc. in that place. So I probably need to get rid of that off the top. And then I can pull up ZBrush and show you how these high polys are going to smooth out. The way I'm doing it is kind of interesting. I'm really liking ZBrush for more hard surface assets lately. It's kind of fun. So I don't really want that to interrupt that piece there. There's also something to keep in mind with the System Shock tile sets that might be a little bit different than other PBR UE4 games, is that we're not using texture filtering and we're trying to keep as even texel density as possible, which is to say the amount of texture space you give to something relevant to its like actual size in the world should be consistent. So basically I have a grid set up. Oh man, my UVs, these aren't UV'd at all, so I'm just gonna to make this like less ugly while I'm in here. That was probably a bad idea. Whatever, we'll shove those off. I have a grid set up for a 2048 by 2048 texture. And with the no texture filtering, I'm going to want to make sure that everything is snapped to one of these grid pieces, which is possible with the script. But it's something that I don't think a lot of people think about when you're not doing this nearest neighbor like texture filtering method. It kind of changes how you think about stuff. So like even this, we want even texel density, and right now some of this is like off the grid. Not the worst thing in the world for the high poly. I'm not going to worry about that. But for low poly and like the UVs especially, you really got to think about it. Because none of those pixels are getting blurred. You don't even have to think about mipmaps. Not doing mipmaps, from what I know at least. And music would be cool, so I'm not just quiet. But I don't know how. I'm not sure what music to listen to. Maybe some video game music if Nintendo isn't crazy about that. Because I'm like, all I can think about is like Donkey Kong Country soundtrack. Hopefully they won't freak out because it's from a video game. It's just a weird situation. Synthwave. Yeah, I would love to play some stuff for my Spotify. I just don't feel super confident doing that. Don't really want it to get muted. I'm just going to put on the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack because it's great. So let's put this piece there. So I'm going to vert snap there and make sure it's on grid. I can hold X and snap it. And in theory, that's on grid if I look at it. It is. That piece isn't, but that's okay. We're not going to worry too much about it. Yeah, it's a little crazy. That whole music thing, I don't know if it's in effect yet. Mechanicus. That sounds cool. I might put it on. But yeah, let me know if music is too loud or if I'm too quiet, etc. That's looking pretty cool. I'm in the original textures. Let's look at this thing. Actually, where's my peer ref? Here it is. Kind of has these that are really vague, and then there are some that have light panels like that, so maybe we'll build that today. It's like you could interpret that as its own platform, like these little greebly things, or just negative space. So who knows? Yeah, I would gladly go wild on Spotify if their crazy new music rules weren't in effect, but I don't know still, so that's cool. You know, I almost really do like this as is, like that. I kind of do. So that one stops there, so if I grab all these, that's one tile. That's one tile. A lot of these have this right justified thing right here that I don't know if I'm feeling on all these light ones. They're kind of similar. A lot of this, since there's not like strict concept art for this stuff, is just iteration. So maybe on this one, we'll just get rid of that. Just want to make sure that's, yeah, that's good. It's on grid. One has those longer panels. Like, we could even change it up, like deleting these faces out and putting a big one down there. Like, hey, maybe it's vertical. Yeah, it is giant chocolate bars. There's a new art mandate that everything has to look like food. Delicious food. You can see rather, with the way I constructed this, it's relatively easy to whip up variations to a point where you ask, like, when is the stopping point? I don't know yet. Yeah, those are intended to be kind of like big diffuse light panels, like a softbox with photography. Hold on one sec, I'm gonna get a water. Woo! Water achieved. Gotta stay hydrated, especially when streaming and talking for a while. Alright, so I want all these to smoothly transition, so I'm gonna change this up. I don't know if there's an unconventional way of assembling a high poly, but it's like, it would just be a pain to try and flow all these edge loops together. I'd be putting in so many unnecessary ones where there like wouldn't be a lineup. I just don't think it's possible, but this is, I think, a totally fine method, especially when the low poly, it's just gonna bake down and see this information anyway. If that makes sense. I don't know if y'all are 3D artists. If there's any 3D artists in here, they'll probably be like, man, that's dumb the way you did that. I'll be like, yeah, probably, actually. Who knows? Yeah, is it 275? Oh, something was smoothed. It's only 128,000 polys. I had some smoothing on. So where's my gap here? Oh, I know why. This little portion usually connects to more of those panels and kind of has a little peak to it, a little valley. So what I want to do is move this down. Hey man, I mean, passion projects definitely count. As some proper 3D art, in my opinion. I should get UV window closed, so I don't see the seams they would display on the model as like a white thing there. I had some creasing in Maya, so that's why some of these are thicker. So I'm gonna uncrease that. I'll show you what I'm doing in creases in ZBrush in a sec. Oh yeah, Sir Kane. Okay, here, I'll just show you my, because you were asking last stream about TF2 items. It's like all of these I had some contribution to. I worked with a lot of other people to make a lot of them, so I'm not going to take sole credit for them. But there's a lot of taunts, a lot of props, a lot of cosmetics. I think I mostly show off the self-made taunts. You should make more TF2 hats, by the way. It's still a thing. Oh yeah, the Night Dive skin. I don't know if anyone's seen this. I mean, I'm sure people have in chat. But that was a cool little collaboration with Night Dive. Before I was doing System Shock anything, I was just like a big fan. And I don't even remember how I got to know Steven. I have no idea. Oh, thank you. Yeah, do 3D. I think everyone should do 3D art. It's really cool. At the same time, don't, because then you're competition. Just kidding. Yeah, I made a bunch of stuff in my spare time from starting like System Shock work. I would do some TF2 stuff, and supposed to be an update for Christmas soon at some point here. All right, so we have our 3 lights, kind of this middle justified, top justified. I might get rid of this. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's really something I'll have to put it together in the engine and like figure out what would be best. But I'll show you real quick what I'm doing to make the high poly for these. Dude, it's really funny. My art was really bad for a long time. I'm not saying it's good now, trust me. But it was on the level of programmer art. Anyway, you know what? I will actually do a new scene and set this one up manually. So ZBrush is a fickle beast. Let's bring in this one I just kind of slapped together, this kind of variation. Let's bring that in. I have something called sticks. Oh, hey, Steven, thank you for the bits. Molly B. Denum. Yes, it is. Molly B. Denim. Oh, that's what it's called. That's right. Okay. That's what the original is called, isn't it? So I'm going to start bringing these over with this plugin called Sticks that I highly suggest. Molybdenum. Yeah, he knows him, apparently. I forgot it, because now it's called the lounge area, so that's just become what they're called in my mind. Anyway, this Sticks plugin basically exports just a really dead simple OBJ to a folder called temp on your C drive. And what's nice about that is then it's just a really one-click simple way to bring it over. The only downside is you don't retain creases or any weighting information, but usually when you're bringing something into ZBrush, you're not gonna have that anyway. So for me, it's a really good solution to not having Go Z, which was kind of Maya's thing. Or not Maya's thing, ZBrush's exporter that has broken. I think Maya broke it or something. I don't know where the blame lays, but the plugin has gone into disarray. So it's a real pain to like, oh, I'm gonna append a new subtool, and then I have to go import, and then I have to go find the OBJ, and it's just a nightmare. So I like this to bring it over. And normally I wouldn't even involve ZBrush, but I kind of like what I have going with the smoothing and creases in there. I'll show you in a sec. I feel like my workflow changes all the time to like change into what it needs to be for like efficiency. Even then, I probably don't do things super efficient. It's just always a struggle to be like, oh, there's this new tool to do something. Yeah, Steven, I haven't got it to work in a long time. That's the bummer. I'm gonna turn music up a bit. Like, Go Z just refuses to work with Maya 2018 at all. Yeah, thanks, man, for coming out. So I'm gonna give this some poly groups, just in case. I don't think it's super necessary, but it's nice to have some poly groups that kind of separates it into stuff you can select really easily. Like, it's just fast. So what I've been doing to make the high poly for these is just, actually I need to do it, using creases and then just regular control loops for the high poly. There a plugin SDK for ZBrush? I'm not sure. I'm definitely not smart enough to figure that kind of stuff out myself, so I never looked into it. It's possible. So I'm gonna uncrease that edge. Oh, what do I have there? Oh, I don't actually want those faces. Let's do this. Delete polygroup all. Cool. What is it trying to do? Let's do edge loop complete. Uncrease that. All right, cool. I think this might prove to be a powerful way to do these. Right now it's smoothing too much because we need some control loops in it. And I don't know how many people are using it, but I really like the Z modeler tool in ZBrush. It's not ideal for, I think, actually building the geometry because of the way we're doing System Shock art. But like for refining and just doing stuff like this, I think it's really nice. Like I could go here and add some support loops if I want that to be sharper. But I kind of like how it was, where it was a little softer. Where that just kind of rolls off. Sirkane, if you can make a plugin that would transfer FBXs like Styx does, that would be cool. I'm not actually legitimately asking for that, but I wish someone would make it. Because GoZ is so broken. I think they've kind of given up on support for it. So actually, before I do that, I'm going to polygroup these as well. Let's group by normals, and that does a really good job of separating these elements out. I'm going to crease by polygroups. That's going to place a crease wherever there's a polygroup change. You can see it does this pinching thing with this outer edge when this whole edge loop is creased, but I'm going to actually undo that. I'm going to undo the one on here because I like the way that rounds off. So just like a little bit of manual work, but it's less manual work than it would be going in and doing them myself. So you can see when this is smooth, there's just no supporting loop going through here to really support it from kind of getting this oval-ish shape. Oh, not crease. I want insert rather. Uh-oh. I hope there's no lag. No drop frames on my end. Yeah, what I'm making is, here, I'll show you the concept art in case you're just coming in. It's like this environment, and I'm making some of these panels. And basically in this concept art, they're pretty close to what they are in the original System Shock, which is these. But those are really vague, and we want to like up the fidelity a little bit and just have more detail. Yeah, I'm sorry about the pausing. On my end, it seems to be going good. It sounds like the chat agrees. That is annoying, though. I hate when Twitch does that. But essentially, my interpretation in Maya here, I wanted to capture kind of that domed kind of plateau look. So I kind of have these shapes in here that are soft and subtle, so they're not like jumping out at you. But when the light hits it, it should make a cool effect, I hope. That is the hope. Oh no, ZBrush, no! Alright, ZBrush crashed. That's a shame. This music is so perfect for me getting screwed over by ZBrush. That's ZBrush, everybody. Oh dear. It's the life of a 3D artist as well as just stuff crashing. It's just how it is. That's life, as Tommy Wiseau says. Maybe in that space. Okay, ZBrush, yes, I know. I know you abnormally terminated. I could tell. Here, maybe I'll show you the scene I had, one of the quick saves. Let's turn on a plugin here real quick. $5,000 software. Yeah, it's true. It is so true. What do we got going on in this scene? I want the one... Maybe I want to go to the right. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. I was really trying to figure out the best way to change this geo. Obviously, this is smooth like crazy. But getting this, like, diamond patterned curve, I think I found an okay way of doing it. There's some issues, but yeah, it's gonna be subtle. So that looks really cool. It's really satisfying to look at stuff like this when you make a really cool pattern. It's just like, oh, ooh. Let's get back to what we were doing. That is gonna become these things, essentially. Let's see, where was I? I had the autosave, so it's not too bad. Oh, thank you, Sir King. I went a little crazy in doing it in geometry. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't. They'd be like, make that like a substance designer thing or something like that. Dang, sometimes it's fun to build stuff in geo. It can be fun. Yeah, I need to learn Substance Designer. And Blaholson, I don't think I've ever attempted to say your name, that version of your name. I know you as Benjamin. Yeah, there are some really cool panels from Blade Runner. Blade Runner panels. I forget who they're designed by. It's from the Ennis House, which is designed by that famous architect that I can't think of his name. Frank Lloyd Wright, that's right. You can see some of them there. They're really cool. People have done recreations. So let's do Ennis House tiles. That should get it. Yeah, so these show up all over. And it is very System Shock. Dude, Sir Kane, that is very true. Yeah, those are really cool. Recreation. I think you can buy replicas from someone, which is pretty funny. Oh, I hate when the Pinterest links come up. It's always hard to get to what you want to get to. Not bad. This guy made it in wood and then cast it. Anyway. The Sid Mead concept, I should check that out. Alright, so where were we? I was giving these creases, was I not? Maybe we will UV and test bake one of these on stream. Let's do it. So the crease basically stops this edge from smoothing at all. It's very powerful. I like it a lot. I'm gonna polygroup this. Deckard's Kitchen. Okay, cool. Yeah, link that up. I'm a huge, gigantic, ridiculously big Blade Runner fan. I feel like a lot of game artists have to be. It's like a rite of passage. So it's not all that unusual. How many seats? I don't know what you mean. Hate to say it. Oh, thank you for the tag there. All right, what was I doing? Again, first time art streaming, so I'm probably easily distracted. Just kind of all over the place, like I am. So I'm gonna uncrease this edge because I like the way it rolls off, like I said. Insert an edge loop there. Let's give this an edge loop. I have some faces that I didn't actually intend to have, so let's delete polygroup all. It's going to delete all those that share a polygroup, and since I auto polygrouped, it has one that's unique to that area. Crease. I'm going to uncrease those. Cool, and if I go up here, it looks really seamless. It doesn't seem, well, except that, apparently. We got an errant vert. We got a vert going somewhere. Seems like it's just one. That one. You know, it's really hard to edit stuff like that in ZBrush to where it, like, is snapped in that alignment. So I'm just going to do it in Maya. Yeah, that got off at some point. That all looks a little wiggly. Interesting. I wonder when that happened. Let's just make sure this is all aligned. Oh, you know what? This part should go up. That's better. Vert alert. Oh, when you bake the tile. Oh, I gotcha. That's a good question. I haven't baked clay and tile in a long time. Yeah, I say baking so often that I don't even think about it anymore. Actually, accidentally imported two of the same thing. Let's delete this one. Still sharing a space. Let's get rid of this guy. Let's export this over. Again, it's kind of an unusual way of going about this, but I like it. Okay, let's just delete that. Okay, there we go. I accidentally deleted this part. Oops. Streamer's luck. Let's think of it that way. So let's crease, edge loop complete. This interface is really fiddly. So if it looks fiddly, it's because it is. It's where you have to be like on an exact pixel to. Actually, I should delete this in here. That's what happens when you kind of work fast. You forget about these things. Cool. Yeah. I'm not actually. I'm just navigating with mouse and keyboard in ZBrush right now because my tablet is my second monitor, so it's kind of hard to show. And with this stuff, it's actually not too uncomfortable to just use mouse. If I was sculpting, I would definitely make a monitor capture for that monitor and sculpt away. So this thing's smoothing like crazy. Let's crease this whole thing. Man, the soundtrack is great. Eternal classic. Surprisingly, not that many phallic things. I feel like it's a bit of a rite of passage, but it doesn't come up as often as you would think for me. I think because when I started out 3D, I got something in very early on in my learning process into Team Fortress 2 and started getting money from it. So it became this thing where immediately I was making stuff for money, potentially. I feel like it did stop me from experimenting a bit. Experimenting with sculpting dongs, I guess, in this case. Alright, cool. I really like these. So this is my high poly, essentially. I don't think it'll need to be much different than it is now. So if we pick a different matte cap, really gives those edge highlights. And this is unsmoothed. It just has a simple bevel on it. If I look at this geo, I think that will bake just fine like that. It is sad. I need to return to my roots as a game artist and like more dong sculpting. I could move that in here, but then it's off grid. Actually, I just realized, so I can't really do that in here. Let's go back to Maya. You can see with this Sticks plugin, it is a decently fast workflow. Like, do I want to align it with that? Does that look correct? I think it does. Yeah, I've been keeping track of what Valve is doing with their adult games. There's people that make some adult games on Twitter that are, I mean, rightfully pissed off that the terms keep changing. Because at one moment it's fine to have any not safe for content, and all of a sudden it isn't. It must be a really hard problem to solve, so I won't blame Valve too much for that. Sometimes you just look at stuff and you're like, ooh. I'm going to bake the light separate in here, so don't worry about that, but this is fun to just pan around and be like, oh, shiny. Or the normal map one, you know? Just screen cap this and then use that as a normal map. There you go. Free art right there. Just screen cap it. So maybe I want to bake this basic one and just do some test bakes. So let's bring that over into ZBrush and make a high poly that then I can make a low poly from. Yeah, Itch.io's an alternative. I think it's one of those things that Epic is gonna need to solve too, is like the people getting on your platform problem. Obviously, a ton of people have the Epic launcher for Fortnite already, so that's like a built-in audience. But it is a question that's in the air of like, are they gonna want to also buy games on that platform? They're already getting V-Bucks, I suppose. It should be interesting to find out. I really like playing Scout and Soldier, I think. It's always fun as Scout to play him as a while, and then you switch to a different class, and you're like, oh my god, the world is so... it moves so slowly as these other classes. Yeah, it's definitely something to think about. I mean, obviously, the Shock remake is UE4, and I love Unreal Engine 4. Anything that isn't Source Engine is fantastic. But UE4 is very user-friendly. So, definitely something to think about. That's not my department, though. That's just my opinion. Heavy is fun. Actually, you know what? Heavy is like a close third. I have a lot of fun with him. I'm just creasing these edges. And that one. Almost got a high poly. CryEngine, I can't say I've used it, so I suppose I'm just thinking of the big two, Unity and Unreal Engine 4. Me personally, I just think more percent to whoever's making the game is a cool thing, and obviously Epic can afford it right now, given their meteoric rise. Really, there's really no other word to describe that. It's just insane. I know it's like haha Fortnite meme, but seriously, it's huge. Haha, victory royale, ho ho ho. Apologies for the memes. Yeah, source code access is big. Not that I know what that truly entails. 1 second. Oops, I muted my mic. I got a delivery. I agree with you what you say about Unity. I won't knock it either. I just am used to using Unreal Engine 4. I will show you what this package is in a second. This is like part art stream, part live unboxing. I kind of want to play some Dusk after art stuff as well, so it might also be part art stream. A new dong. Yeah, it's this big. That's not true. This is so stupid. Does anyone like the artist Aphex Twin? I'm a big fan of Aphex Twin. And he he recently had basically like a merch explosion on his website. And I thought it would be really funny to buy one of them, just because I'm a big fan of him. So this is so stupid. Oh my god. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Cymac knows. Your name kind of reminds me of an Aphex song name. Dear God. Oh. Why did I do this? Whoa. Why did I do this? It's the Aphex Twin umbrella. I think if you're superstitious, it's bad luck to open an umbrella indoors. But oh my god, there's a little, oh dude, what the fuck? Apologies to swear, wow. I have an umbrella. This is so dumb. This is so dumb. Wow. It's like super high quality, so I'll give him that. It's a very nice umbrella. And when it's 2019 and the world turns into Blade Runner and there's like acid rain everywhere, I'll be rocking it in style. Oh my god, get back together, please. There you go. Okay, that I forgot I bought that. It's always funny when you buy yourself a thing and then it comes and you're like, oh wow. What was I thinking? Who was that person that purchased that at that time? I just wanted one of the Aphex Twin weird merch things, and I thought that would be one of the most unusual at the very least. And I also needed an umbrella, to be honest, so there you go. Okay, this seems like a good high poly. These little curves in here, though, I need to think about that. I won't worry about it for now. Oh, I didn't know that about the characters. A quadruped. Does System Shock have any quadrupeds? I don't think so. We got some very unusual enemies, but... Alright. So, I'm gonna hide these. Coming over here. And let's do a merge visible. That will give me a separate subtool, I believe, that I can access in here, and this is all one object. And it should retain the creases that I have on it. Is that true? Yes, but these, actually, I want to separate out and keep them low poly for now. I will worry about smoothing those later. I just want to do some test bakes. Deep Chrome. That's like a really, yeah, it's like an honor. Thank you. I'm trying to retain some of the spirit of the original, and it's like actually a really, I feel like a hard problem to solve on some of them, because they are very vague. Like, I do really find it interesting when people like would do critiques of the Spyro remake or Crash remake art, because it is so able to be interpreted depending on how you look at the original. So it's a hard problem to solve. Let's split unmasked points. I'll make that separate. Let's divide this a few times. So let's export this to the lounge. I made some folders. I have a test folder full of stuff, but I'm gonna redo that. Let's do bakes. Lounge. How do you spell lounge? I always forget. There we go. Panel A, I guess. Yeah, for sure. Orange one's from maintenance level. Okay, sure. Launch or lounge? I believe it's lounge. Lounge. So actually, I'm gonna make this a little easier. Let's rename this. I'm on stream, so I have to be good with the naming conventions and stuff. Usually I'm really bad about it, but I'm forced to. Let's do panel A. Pi 1. It's kind of a convoluted name, but I want to export these as separate things. So let's copy paste from that. Yes. One? Yes. I don't know what I'm missing. Okay, there we go. Jeez. Is that even a good naming convention? Maybe. Let's go FBX, import, export, visible. See, that's hard because I don't want the smooth normals. I want the smooth normals on one of the pieces, but not on the other. I want hard normals. So what I might do to be lazy real quick, just to get baking and show that off a bit, is Dynamesh these. Lounge Dong 69. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, Mickey, I love it. This soundtrack is great. All right, I Dynamesh that, and you get some interesting results, but if I do a polish on that, it should be fine. This is like pretty dense geometry and a little bit silly for what it is, but for a lazy test of doing some baking, it should do the trick. All right, so visible, yeah. Let's go here. You can see all my hard drives are named after Spaceballs things, because I'm an idiot. These secrets are exposed. So I need to make a high poly from this. It's these pieces, yep. So let's duplicate this up, move it up 200. Actually, I should do Control G and then move it up 200. Let's get rid of that because that was a test. One, two, three, four, five. It's the same password on my luggage. No, it's not. It's a little more complicated, but not much more. So I think the best way to go about making a low poly here is just to adapt our medium poly. Oh, Gorilla Tiger Mutants. Yeah, so I'm not in character stuff yet, so I haven't really thought about it, but I gotcha. You really can't change the collision capsule? I find that interesting. I would have thought. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. I love Spaceballs, what can I say? I probably shouldn't. But I watched it a lot as a kid, so it's burned in there. Actually, the way I did these, I'm just going to do one of them and drag it down, duplicate it down. Although, are some of these different length? I won't worry about it for now. merge these to center. Do the same there. Do the same there. If I do this, double click that, it should select all those, collapse. Do I need that in the low poly? Maybe. Definitely don't need these edges in low poly. That was just something strictly for the high poly. So for the low, it's really worth considering what edges affect the oops, shadow play, please. Affect the silhouette the most. How many polys is this? So 130, cool. Delete those. Go ahead and delete that. Okay. Wandering Mac user, gotcha. Appreciate the info, actually. That's very interesting. So I'm gonna just keep making the low poly by getting rid of these. I will keep, actually, and that's a good thing to consider. Let's do a merge collapse, so those merge to their middle points. Basically averages out their position and merges them to whatever the average is. Let's give that a hard edge. Some days you just gotta select a lot of edge loops. It's just the way it is. More edge loops. See this character stuff in chat going over my head a little bit. That's cool though. I gotta expand my skill horizons and get to that stuff someday. But for now, chat is smarter than the streamer. Oops. Wrong axis. Okay, there we go. Let's get rid of these. And cool. Snap that down. How do I want these to terminate? That's always the question. Snap that up there. It's nice to have stuff aligned. Man, Donkey Kong Country soundtrack? Good stuff. These levels are really intense too. That works. That works for low poly. It can go lower. Like, do I want to though? There is more considerations for baking the normal maps with this style, and the way some geo terminates can be an issue if it has to account for like massively changing the surface normals of something, and unfiltering the texture can make it look bad. You kind of get this banding effect. So I want some hard normals, some soft normals. Let's just get rid of that one and bring this one down. Gonna put that in a layer on its own. I'll tackle these. All right, Sir Kane, thank you for stopping in, being a consistent stream viewer. 26 viewers, that's crazy. If I think about it too long, I'll go crazy. I'll be like, oh my god, stage fright. I just won't think about it. It's gonna be smarter to just, yeah, here's what I'll do. Put in some edge loops there. Delete that. Maybe I'll even use instances real quick. I don't know. It could be a thing. If I Control-Shift-D, bring that over. Control-Shift-D again. Does that line up? Yeah, somewhere along the line, these three had slightly different sizes. So what I'll do is snap this one there. It's gonna want to do all those. Okay, interesting. When did that change? Snapping that is gonna make it go too far over. Now I'm racking my brain trying to figure out when that happened. Yeah, I gotta undo back, unfortunately. Gotta look at this again here. Can I undo back that far? Oh god, I have the green. Oh, Maya might crash. It didn't like that. Yeah, it crashed. Alright. That's fine. That's a dedication to my hubris, that crash. To think I could Control Z and get to where I was. Foolish. Oh no. Did I save in that time? Okay, I did. All right, cool. Wait. No. Okay, wait a second. I need to go to get to my autosave here. Golly. Temp. I forget where I put it. It's in Dev 2? Yeah. 502 was the last one. Well, that sucked, but we're back, so that's fine. Do I need this in the low poly? No, I don't. so. The Dark Souls version? Yeah, of course. That is a good point. Very good point. The other hard thing about the grid is dividing things into 3. So these will never really be on grid and divided into 3. This is like split in half already, this tile. It's a bit of a challenge. Some days I'm like, should I switch to max? Yeah, I'm just gonna low poly them all at the same time. It might be a little extra work, but reverse to center, please. Thank you. It's easy enough to just drag across these and get them merged. Am I glowing? Oh yeah, I have that light over there. Here, wait a second. I'll do something funny real quick. Whoa. Which one is it? Okay, it's that one. I'll make it appropriate to the stream. Purple. It's really hard to get a purple, like a proper purple color. It's as close as it gets, I think. Yeah, I kind of went crazy in those Philip Hue light bulbs. Like, someone got me the starter kit for Christmas, and it's been all downhill from there. Let's turn on wireframe unshaded so we can see what's up. I still have the 3. For me right now, it's a thing of figuring out what I need to actually need for the low poly to bake correctly. It's always a balancing act, I feel like. And unfortunately, I gotta redo this thing because it died in the crash. Man, the soundtrack rules. It's almost over, though. I think the soundtrack is almost donezo. So let's actually... Oops. I have this, this set of scripts called K-Tools that I really like. Actually, K-Tools isn't what I want. Smart Mesh Tools. There we go. Always gotta have your plugins. I like their version of Extract way more than Maya's. It seems more stable. It doesn't crash as much. I don't know who made it exactly, but if you Google that, I'm sure you can find it. So if I delete that, cool. Darn, I was hoping you would say Max didn't crash a lot, so I could switch to it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just crashy. It's a bit of a bummer. Change the silhouette or the outline of it too much because it won't bake right, but if I merge those to center, it should be fine. Same with these. I think I deleted that row on the other one. Let's see how that goes. This piece is, there's such a small area there. That geo's a little weird. It smooths good for the high poly. I don't think you're gonna notice that, but for the low poly, it's something to consider. Like it kind of looks nice on this one. I think that should come through in a bake in a good way. But for this, I'm gonna make these all flatten out. Scooch this up on grid. So let's snap it to grid. If I hold X, snap a bit. Crash. Yeah, it's crazy. You just have to pray to the 3D gods themselves, I guess. It's a bit annoying. Alright, so this again, I had this low poly, but now it's not. Oh well. A giant nos. Oh my god. Good luck. So far in life, I have not succumbed to like energy drinks or coffee. Somehow. I feel like it's gonna get me at some point. Whoa! Yeah, that's what I'm told. Like, I would like to avoid any vices I can. But then I just end up spending money on other stupid stuff like that Aphex Twin umbrella I showed earlier. And not the worst thing to get. It has a utility. So let's grab these. These faces are no longer planar from what I know, so if I grab that, scale it out, push it out, snap to that, should be good. Actually, after I merge these as well, it's not going to be flat anymore. So I'm going to grab all these faces again. Scale those a bit. You can see just so subtly it wasn't flat anymore. So then to consider again, do I just want to drag those down? Yeah, actually. Oh, that leaves me an N-gon. Some days you just can't get rid of an N-gon. Oop. I actually don't want these faces anymore. So let's grab it like that. Two face, delete those. Cool, now we're good. Snap that down. All right, thanks for showing up. Now I'm in control of Night Dive. Ha ha ha. Yeah, Mac. I do remember that actually. Thanks, dude. Appreciate you stopping in. Let's edit mesh merge. So how do I want this N-gon to go away? I think in the bake, in theory, it should be fine if I did that. Let's try it. Still have an N-gon. How foolish of me. Yeah, I'll leave it in for now. Well. Now I'll get rid of it. always something I can optimize way more. But I like that divot in Geo. Are people going to notice it that much? I don't know. We'll see. Because I am the newest artist, there is still quite a bit I'm learning, so could be that I'm going about this the wrong way with this little divot. We'll see. I think it would be nice to have some Geo there that reflects that. Like this. Do I need that bit? Oops. I changed my shadow play bind to something that's too easy to accidentally do when I'm working in 3D. Oh yeah, I should change the music because that soundtrack stopped. What should I listen to? Quake OST. Yeah. Oh, System soundtrack. The System Shock soundtrack is really awesome. But shout outs to Trent Reznor, man. We're gonna see how this bakes. I'm unsure yet. Oh, Phantasy Star Online. I never really played it. The only experience I really have with it is using Phantasy Star episode whatever 1 and 2 to boot Homebrew on the GameCube. True story. I believe that middle tile is slightly elongated to compensate for not being able to split that into the grid totally evenly. I'm gonna undo actually, once again. Swing those around for now, just so we can see it in there. So let's look at these. That has that divot. We will definitely see how it bakes. I'm not super sure yet. Sometimes these things can be fiddly. I like this program, this script K-tools for flipping stuff. I think it's easier than Maya's default way of doing it, which is like going in here and doing -1 or doing this sort of thing or something like that. Yeah, I don't remember which way. That should be fine. What I'll do is smart combine this. Put it to 0. Put it to 0. Where did it go? Oh, is that what it considers 0? Okay, interesting. -400? Yeah, wild. Okay. Set this to reference and I can move this stuff manually. That looks pretty spot on, actually. It was just these two that got a little out of whack because of the way that this had to be split up. That's okay, though. If I do that, that should work. I should turn up the soundtrack a bit. So it gets really ambient after that one. Where is Streamlabs? Always good to have a nice ambient drone. I actually really do like music like that. Okay, cool. Let's delete some faces that won't be seen. These ones probably will not be. Oh, you know what? That part's interesting, so let's extrude that up. Still a slight bit of gap. I wonder which axis on. Looks like it was vertically. Let's merge those verts. Yeah, that first song is so good. This has got me thinking now. Baking can be a real jerk. Those aren't going to be seen, but yeah, it should do. Oh, you know what? Okay, I see the problem. Let's delete this bottom row here. Apologies, sometimes I just make dumb mistakes. I think that's most of 3D art. This song is like negative ASMR. Maybe I'll skip ahead. And then it has this tinny noise where it's like, ah! Although I love that song. I just don't want to drive anyone crazy in chat. Alright, cool. Now that has that divide there, and there's a very smooth transition between those two pieces. Even though they're not like geometrically connected, I think I can get away with that, unless there's a performance. Like I don't know if there's a downside to doing that at all. I don't think so. Yeah, Mac, I agree that the dingly, needly on your ear sound is like really cool to me, especially when it starts like rocking out in that song. I think it's fucking cool. But it can annoy some. Speaking of which, I've been waiting so dang long for the Quake vinyl to be available to purchase, and it's still not a thing. Like, let me bring this up. Quick vinyl. This thing has said coming soon for so long. I'm getting impatient, boys and girls. I just want the vinyl. I'm not even going to listen to it. I just want it. Because I don't have a vinyl record player yet. Someday. I can probably merge these. That's collapsing in a weird way. Why is it doing that? Instead, I'll do a merge to center. That should make it an even change on all of these. Again, there's a way I could be doing this with all at once with something called instances. Sometimes the dumb old-fashioned way is easier, to be honest. There's their own considerations that you gotta take into account when you're doing stuff with like instances. I've noticed Maya can get a little bogged down performance-wise too when you have a ton of them in a scene. So I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna apply the KISS method. Oh, I know what music I want to listen to after this. Still 26 viewers apparently. I don't know if that's still true. How fast Streamlabs is at updating that, but it says 26. That's really cool. I would be honored if so. Only 22. Okay, cool. Thanks, man. Still getting used to streaming, so it's very cool to have people come out for it. Shit. Oops. Am I allowed to swear on these streams? What say you, chat? If I delete this edge loop, I think it should be okay. Okay, thank you for the approval. Alright, right now there's 904 triangles, which isn't too bad. I feel like it could go lower. There's like some stuff in here, but you know what? It's good enough for a test. Alright, just don't tell Kane about what happened. Just don't tell him. Alright, I did a simple camera-based projection. To do those, why is that like reversed? So let's rotate this. Cool. And as you can see, I want this to be on grid, but it is ever so slightly off on a lot of this, I would hazard a guess. So what I'm going to do is, actually I want to keep the borders the same because I like where those are. Some of them are off. Okay, cool. Let's do, actually since I did a camera-based projection and seeing that these are slightly off, means that geometrically these are slightly off as well. Let's grab these. We're going to want to do some snapping. If it's off, it's very subtle. Yeah, super subtle. So let's rotate that again. I don't know why it's projecting like that. Because that view, I guess, is upside down. Like, is that aligned? That one's aligned. Yeah. Cool. So here, I'll just use my script that will snap this appropriately. It'll snap it to grid, and you can see what changes is stuff that wasn't on the grid, and we want to fix that. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Kids won't be watching. If they are, hi. How are you? Do you need your parents' permission? Thank you. There's just some streamers that don't swear, and I kind of admire it in a weird way. I know it's kind of like puritanical or something, but I kind of get the dedication to it. It's not something a lot of people do. All right, cool. So now that is totally snapped to the grid, and we're all good. I was just checking to see if there's any that was like woefully off, but it seems like it's really subtle. Yeah, the only reason that I'm being this like slavish to having it snapped on grid is because the way that we're doing unfiltered textures, the nearest neighbor stuff, kind of requires it. Otherwise you get kind of this, you know, it's almost like pixel bleeding. It's kind of weird. But yeah, usually it's not necessary at all when you have something that's being texture filtered. So I'm going to combine these and send this down -400 in space. And this might be good enough to try and do a test bake with. Let's try it. Lounge, Marmoset bakes. Unless there's something stupid that I'm forgetting. I don't think so. The fact that they are kind of different UV islands does maybe present a problem, potentially. I'm not sure yet. We will see. I don't like all those materials that this always assigns. I don't know which one I like. Let's do Castle Sunset. So if we look at our high poly, I'm reasonably pleased with that. I do like how it looks. And before I go too much farther, I'm gonna smooth this entire thing and see how that goes. It's a case-by-case basis to see what it needs. I feel like if I do smooth, this could be merged. Actually, I should keep it like that. I might have panels that pop off. Let's export that over. It's very true. So let's put that in high. I like to use Marmoset. Test bake. 64. This is gonna be a 512. Smooth cage. Are we getting some sort of? Doesn't look too bad actually. That should cover it. Let's do bake. Turn off the high. So now we just have the low poly. Yeah, it's kind of what I was afraid of with the separated kind of islands, is this seam here. Turn down the roughness and it starts to go away, but yeah, it wasn't something I super thought about while I was doing it. So let me go back here. See what we could possibly do with that. Maybe the rest of it looks good though, I think. Let's turn that roughness back down. Crank down the metalness a bit. Let's give it a color. Doesn't look too bad. Also, I can turn off the texture filtering in here so you get those pixels. It's kind of hard to see. I should turn metalness back up. Pixels. Yeah, I definitely got some mad banding on those because those are hard edged right now. So, or not hard edged, totally smooth. This color's a bit aggressive. Just want to be able to tell what's going on with the material, I think. Is not the perfect way to do it. Yeah, there we go. That's a little better. Pixels, yes. Overall, not a bad result. Let's bake a curvature as well and look at it. Yeah, that works pretty well. I'm going to open these maps in Photoshop and look at them. I just did test bake because I'm not super committed to this low poly yet. Yeah, I'm getting that seam right there. If I got rid of that, I feel like it would be good. There's the normal map. That curvature is really pleasing. I think that'll work well if it wasn't for that seam. Is that splitting there? It's hard to say. Is it doing smooth cage? Yes, it is. Let's try painting the skew map. I'm just gonna crank this up a little bit. Maybe not that big. Oops. It's clear. That's still way too big. I think it's a problem with the way it's projecting, but I'm not sure. Oh, my UV is flipped. I didn't even realize. Oh, well. That's an easy fix. Oh my god, this song sounds like Trent Reznor's going to the bathroom. You know what, let's just flood it with black. This is going to change the way the ray casts are being cast to capture this lighting and information to turn it into a normal map and curvature map and everything. Did that make much of a difference? I can't really tell, to be honest. I don't think it did. Let's go in here. No, it didn't really change it. Is it from the high poly, I wonder? Oh, okay. It's from the high poly. So that should be somewhat easily solved, I think. So let's go back to ZBrush. It's all one poly group now. See, what it's doing is I have that creased edge and it's smoothing the normals. So that corner is kind of getting this soft thing and creating a seam, which is unintentional. So, ideally what I would want to do is delete those interior faces in here. So let's try it. It's really high res right now, but I'm going to go to group by normals, and in theory I should be able to come in here with ZModeler and delete these by polygroup all. I'm gonna go to subdivision of, yeah, I guess I'll delete lower. This song's creepy, dude. That should do it to where I don't get that seam on export. Song's a bit loud, I think. Alright. So, if I export this, we might get the result we're after. Don't crash on me. Don't crash on me, bro. Cool. Let's come back into Marmoset. and see how it did. Didn't seem to export both. Visible, yeah. Let's try that again. That was weird. Why is it only exporting that one? Let's re-import real quick. Yeah, it's odd. Now it came in properly. Ah, no seam now, as far as I can tell. Yep. Nice. Yeah, those edges are a bit ugly. In fact, I could go through on the high poly. Yeah, I love the System Shock 2 soundtrack as well. I guess maybe some people think it might get a bit aggressive when it plays when you get like seen by an enemy. Doesn't work like that. Last I remember, it's like sort of dynamic a little bit. Let's get rid of those edges and re-export. I kind of like this workflow. I'm kind of figuring it out on stream, doing these as like separate panels and using creasing to keep it really dynamic, to be able to bake it quickly and change up the high poly quickly. So if I connected all those with actual proper edge loops, it'd be such a nightmare. I would hate it. So let's rebake and see how that goes. I'm hoping that will get rid of the seam. Yes, it does. Okay, cool. Still don't like how much banding I'm getting on those. So let's go through here. Harden these edges. I might not actually want to harden those ones, but whatever, we'll do it. It's always iteration. Always. Yeah, that's not bad. That's pretty good. Still don't like this material that it's using. Maybe I want to change the skylight. Yeah, here we go. Overall, I'd say not a bad result. I might want to give it hard edges on this part. On these. And see how that turns out. Again, like, even having hard edges on your low poly isn't something you would do in many other PBR workflows, but with this untextured filtering stuff where we're doing, it can be a reason to, because of the banding. Because the normal map is trying to compensate for the smoothing on the low poly. And hard edge can be a way to keep that in check. Yeah, gotta inspect this thing. Let's go to low. Did I have the paint skew? I'm gonna undo that actually. Rebake, because I'm noticing some ugliness. Yeah, that helps a bit. Cool, I think that could be how I go about this. I like that result. Let's turn up the metalness, make it real metal panel. That, yeah, that's a little ugly. I'll have to figure that out for sure. That's something I could fix in the high poly. It's hard to get that plastic that I'm really after, so let's turn down the metalness. Something that's really going to come across more in once I have curvature map like overlaid on top and substance painter and stuff. It's going to make the edges jump out more than it does right now. Ooh, colors. Yes. Cool. All right. Wolfenbach, you're back. Welcome. I just got done baking this as a test, and I think that is a good result. I think that will be going ahead with this technique that I kind of made up on the spot. So, let's just grab a quick and dirty pic of it. This isn't rocket science that I'm not doing this very accurately or anything, but I'm just gonna cut it out like that. And actually, I'll put it on my pure ref board. Where is that? There is the start and of an updated version of the one on the right. I think is, yeah, not a bad start on that. I've been going for, oh man, almost 2 hours exactly. One more minute. That was my first art stream. I hope people enjoyed it. I might play some Dusk in a second. It's just about 6. So let me know. For now, I'm going to respond to that awesome link that someone put in the System Shock Discord of the Blade Runner model shop. So cool. It's really hard to tell the scale until you have, again, the guy reaching his arm into there. Great hair, dude. Great hair. Yeah, this is awesome stuff. You want more art? I'm a little arted out. But I will definitely be back in the future with more art streams. Like, 100%. Thanks, guys. Oh, inspired you to paint some Warhammer. That's awesome. I've always been curious about doing more, like, figure painting, because I have some friends that are into it. It seems like some of the texturing stuff you do in 3D does apply to doing miniatures. Super cool. Yeah, absolutely. In theory, there will be more pics of this upcoming tile set in the next Kickstarter update, I would imagine, which is probably going to be after the holidays. Cool, third player. Yes, good job. You did it. Oh, thanks, guys. It's super, super nice of you. I think overall, a good result, a good start for sure. So I'm going to save this scene, actually, because I like that. Lounge bakes. Let's call it that. Maybe I'll get into substance texturing, substance painter texturing. Yay, bits! All right, you know what we're gonna do for maybe like 30 minutes? Some Dusk, because I want to play some. So let's see. I need to add a game capture. Oh, Dusk. What? That's old? Excuse me? Excuse me? It's properly out. Oh, I might not have it downloaded. So I need to get Dusk. I have the old version installed. Mac, that's an honor for you to say. Because I myself, I don't think about it that way, like this good. It's like a constant I don't know, your like taste and eye gets better faster than your hands do, if that makes sense. So I never feel like I've reached a point where I'm like, yeah, I'm really confident in my skills, or I think I've reached somewhere. You might plateau for a bit where you feel like, all right, I feel pretty good about my skills, but a lot of the time it just feels like an uphill thing. Especially to be totally candid, like starting on the System Shock stuff when early on, it's like, this is really challenging. I don't know what I'm doing. But slowly but surely you do. I think that's probably any art thing. You're just always striving. I didn't mean to be like in inspirational speech or anything. just my thoughts on that.